Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of The Guys Who Stare at Stats. Cade Kennedy with you alongside Tyler Riggs. And Tyler, it's a good day for an Oklahoma fan. That's something we have not said a lot in the year 2024, but it is a good day to be an Oklahoma fan. John Mateer officially committing to Oklahoma to transfer there. He was in Norman today, got the commitment done, teaming up with, of course, his old offensive coordinator and Ben Arbuckle. It's a good day to be an Oklahoma fan, Tyler. I'm going to say it a lot because I have not said it a lot this year.
It brings a tear to my eye. Too cheesy. Okay,
Okay.
but no,
Tyler, you ruined it.
what a day, no doubt, for the Sooners. Right, you get Mateer, the number one guy as ranked by a lot of services in the portal. You figured it was coming if he was going to transfer with how everything was aligning. OU had a pretty good shot on him. It sounded like Miami made a little bit of a run there at the end, tried to get him, but not the case. So great to see that. And, this for OU sets up a lot of interesting dynamics as we head into the spring.
Absolutely. I mean, just to kind of go off the On 3 article I have here, as you can see it on the screen, 64% completion rate, 3,139 yards through the air, 29 touchdowns, 15 rushing TDs, 826 on the ground. Tyler, I believe I saw a sad stat in a way that if you just took Mateer's total yards combined, that would be more than every OU player put together last year. I mean, that's the type of deal we're looking at here, where if you're Oklahoma, this is obviously the guy you wanted ever since Arbuckle was announced as the offensive coordinator. The line of thinking was you would think he's going to get Mateer, and of course, with the entire, I don't want to say implosion that's going on at Washington State, but I mean, that's what it is turning into, losing all your coordinators, players portaling out. I wouldn't be surprised if OU tries to snag another player or two. I know they have the offensive lineman in the portal as well. You've got a chance to get a lot more people. And I know a lot of OU people, people I know as well, talking to them, where it's just, we've seen everybody leave. Why have we not gotten anybody yet? And that finally started to change today. And I think a lot of that line of thinking is people want to see who the quarterback's going to be. Is Mateer actually going to get here? Is it going to be Michael Hawkins Jr.? Who is going to be that quarterback going into 2025? Now that Oklahoma has their, your at least QB1 and QB2 set, you can really start to go from here and continue to sell recruits on that.
Yeah, I mean, this is, and I know, like you're talking about, everybody wants to get in a rush, right? To say, oh, hey, portal's open. We're not making moves. First few days, big moves goes down. You're thinking, oh, why is OU not doing anything? We had our only portal guy for a minute there was a punter. Um, that wasn't the best look, but sometimes it's not about the rush, right? We talk about this in journalism, Kate. I'm sure you've talked about this. Sometimes it's better to get things right than to be first. This was that case. Sooners wanted to get things right, and they're able to have the patience pay off. You pick up material, you pick up, some interesting receiver prospects today as well to go with that, and the possibilities are still wide open. You had both branches, Zion and Zachary enter out of USC, right? So they reportedly are trying to be a package deal. So that could be in play down the line. You never know what could free up as we continue uh, into this offseason.
Absolutely. And I mean, and that's what I really want to get at here with this. The main takeaway, and you'd heard me not necessarily gloom and doom about where Oklahoma football could be at, but this definitely helps take a lot of that away. I mean, I would say cautiously optimistic is where I'd put it for going into next year. It's kind of one of those with all that's been going on today and all that, you kind of forget we do have a bowl game in 9 days, as of the time we're recruiting this. We still have to go play Navy in Fort Worth. But this is just such a massive boost, I think, for everyone. Again, it's kind of like what I said after the Alabama game. The fan base needed something positive to happen for everything to continue to look forward to. You got your positive thing. Oklahoma got the guy they wanted. This is a big deal. I mean, it absolutely is. The number one player in the portal as of right now. Of course, that could always change, with people coming in and out. But as of right now, given the circumstances, he was the guy you wanted. He was the guy you got. That's the big takeaway from this here.
Oh, for sure. And you talk about needing that positive news because I tell you what, the bowl games only gonna remind you that we were a pretty mediocre team this year. I feel like so. Bowl games not gonna show you anything crazy. I think the big storyline as we get towards the spring is that from all indications, at least, Michael Hawkins wanted some competition. He wants to give it a go. So it's going to be a battle between Mateer and Hawkins, right? You would figure Mateer's got the inside track, being familiar with the OC, the new OC, I should say, your new quarterbacks coach. But, Hawkins, he's a guy that when you look at what Mateer did at Washington State this year, Hawkins could do a lot of those things, right? So I'm curious to see if he gets kind of a legitimate try at trying to be the guy, or at least to prove to Coach Arbuckle that, hey, I've got a little something to bring. So I'm curious to see how that relationship plays out and how that battle plays out as we get into the spring.
Yeah, and I'm intrigued by that as well. And one other point I want to get to, pulling up Mateer's game log here, just showing that on the screen. I think the one thing some people I saw kind of, and this is not really a minor or a major thing. This was a very minuscule point where people are like, well, there's a Washington State team that went 8-4. Are we really poaching? I saw this more with other people, not Mateer specifically, but I'm going to use him as a perfect example of this where, why are we getting players from lower levels? We should be getting other type of people into play at Oklahoma. Washington State went 8-4. And of course, the main thing people are going to take away from that's all they had that 3-game skid at the end of the year. You get upset by New Mexico. You lose the Pac-2 title to Oregon State. You have the abysmal game against Wyoming. Look at Mateer's numbers in 2 of those 3 losses. The Wyoming game, not the best. Obviously, bad games happen and things like that there. But the New Mexico game throws for 4 touchdowns at 375. Oregon State 17 for 23, 252 touchdowns. Had decent to good QBR ratings in both of those games. He's not the problem in either of those games. That's a defensive issue. That's one of those things that you look at where Oklahoma's at. You're still going to have a good defense next year. You bring in Mateer. You have hopefully, I would say, fingers crossed when I say this, a healthier receiving core, at least not have 6 guys injured. I would like to think that's never going to happen again, at least not
You'd
while
hope
either
that's
of us
just a
are
freak
alive.
act.
Yeah,
Yeah.
one of those type of deals. You put him in with a system where he already knows it. That helps a lot, obviously. I mean, you could probably talk about that more than I could, but having a quarterback that knows the system, knows exactly how it's supposed to be run and how he can run it, it's going to help a lot. And I'm not going to say Oklahoma's going to be a national championship contender or anything. As of December 18th, 2024, we still have a long ways to go for Oklahoma to be in that position. But they have a lot better shot than, the 6-7 we saw again this year.
Well, and I think it boils down to a lot of the same stuff we talked about with Ben Arbuckle coming in. For Mateer, he's never been surrounded by as much talent as he's going to have on OU in terms of a complete team, right? We know the defense is going to be really good because Barrett Venables has done a good job of building up that stockpile. And we know offensively he's going to have some weapons that he just simply has not had in his college career. No matter how unproven you think the receivers may be that come in this, that, and the other, the talent, at least on paper, is supposed to be better than what he's had. So the same thing with Coach Arbuckle, right? We get to see if these guys are truly up to that challenge.
Absolutely.
Because they performed with lower levels of talent. That's no disrespect to Washington State and co., but that's where you're at. So now we get to find out if they are truly SEC ready.
Absolutely. And I mean, you talk about kind of some of that talent that he'll have to play with. Obviously, the big one, Deion Burks, going to be back next year. That's absolutely huge. That's the photo that everyone kind of kept showing of all the 6 wide receivers that 4 of them have left. The only 2 left you had were Burks and Gibson to see, okay, or who are they going to leave? And thankfully, Burks already, the video that came out, he's going to be back, changing his number from 6 to 4. That's a sigh of relief. That absolutely, that was the first positive domino to really fall in this whole situation. Now you have Mateer, and of course the other 2 wide receivers that Oklahoma got today, putting their articles up on screen real quick. Giovanni Gibson from Arkansas Pine Bluff, wide receiver. The main thing with him, Tyler, I mean, you look at it, racked up 1,215 yards, 9 touchdowns on an Arkansas Pine Bluff team that wasn't that good. But anytime you have someone who's 6'3", 205, that's going to help a lot. Continuing to have that size is going to be a big deal.
Well, and this is again another guy who was similar to what we're talking about with Mateer, dominant. Yes, at a lower level. Yes, on a team that wasn't as good. But he's just kind of coming into form. Just a redshirt sophomore this year. So he'll come into kind of the prime you would think of his career next year. You get him on a SEC type of program physically, he's going to be in the best shape of his life, you would assume. Obviously, you hope for his health. And again, it's going to be an instance where he goes from probably drawing, double coverage most of the time to now he'll see a little bit more open field. So he's definitely an intriguing prospect to fit into this offense. And it's not including, like we said, any other receiver playmaker that winds up deciding to sign on for the ride now that you got Mateer.
Yeah, and then the other wide receiver to get to that happened today, Southern Illinois receiver Keontez Lewis, also was at Wisconsin for a while, kind of bounced around from place to place, but he also commits to Oklahoma today, was at UCLA, then at Wisconsin. Another good receiver to add to the pile. Again, one of those that a lot of people were just kind of like, who is this? What are we talking? Who is this guy? But he has that D1 experience to him. Obviously, like I said, at UCLA and Wisconsin, he's not just some FCS kid you're bringing up. Intrigued to see how he's going to be in it. And, like I was joking with you, Tyler, if he's capable of catching the ball and he's capable of not getting injured after one play, I'll take anyone at this point.
Yeah, and he's had D1 experience. You mentioned the Wisconsin stop. He was also at UCLA in 2021. Was more of a special teamers guy there, and really hasn't necessarily been in a prime role. He's an interesting target. He's 6'2", 190, so got some of that size. His kind of the relationship, the interesting thing to digging into his history. The Sewer fans remember C.J. Colden from a few years ago. Had a good season, wound up going pro. It's actually Lewis is his cousin, so there is some familiarity there, at least from Lewis to the OU program. Not necessarily with the guys that are there now, but he knows of how things run simply through that relationship. So I'm not quite as high on him, right, as it may be Gibson, but hey, 6'2", 190, you can't be hurting to have that guy in the locker room at least.
Absolutely. And again, the big prize here, of course, John Mateer. You add two wide receivers in. All in all, just an amazing day for Oklahoma recruiting wise. And, the portal, the way this thing's going to work, we still got 10 more days of this. We've still got a little bit more time.
Yep.
I would not be surprised if we see a few more moves that get made here, Tyler. I mean, you would think
Put
that's
the
going to happen.
trophies in the trophy case, Cade. It's coming.
Oh, dear.
Natties. No.
Oh, dear. Tyler, don't be that guy.
We're not those type of.
We're not
fans.
those. Though I did see that on social media. The first post I saw was national championship incoming. It's like, guys, listen, I would love to see that happen. I've already seen where people are trying to do the Baker Mayfield comparison of, hey, we brought in a young offense coordinator and his quarterback. And I'd love for that to be true. I just don't want to jump the gun on that again before we've even played our bowl game of this season, before we start talking about what's going to happen next August and all the way through December of 2025. I'm not ready to have that conversation yet,
Kate,
honestly.
I can't hear you. I'm putting down $50 on the Sooners' future national championship. I'm sorry.
Okay. If you want to put a 20XX, I'd be right there with you. But
whoa, okay.
That gives you 70 plus years to, hey, if OU wins
Something
the national
like
title
that,
at some point between then. But either way, folks, thank you as always for watching this video. Now 114 subscribers is what we're at now. And again, cannot thank you enough. If you're watching this video, if you're already subscribed, we truly do appreciate that. If you haven't, just follow the kind of simple thing we always talk about in the videos. You feel free to like it, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell to always be notified when new videos come out, and leave a comment down below. We want to hear your opinions. Is the audio fixed? I know some people are having some trouble with that from the Jackson Arnold video, where, it came out fine on my end. I know some people were struggling with that a little bit, but feel free to leave a comment down below. Anything you agree with, disagree with, always happy to continue the conversation down in the comments below. But folks, until next time, have a good one, everybody.